What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the great outdoors. Got an oil change to do this morning, so Squirrel just showed up to go into the truck with me and stay warm. Gonna jack her up, get the oil changed, check a wheel bearing. I think I may have a wheel bearing that's roaring on the front. I was really hoping that was the tires that was the problem. Got new tires, still doing it. For some reason, you never jack it far enough first. Never understood that. Always remember your jack stands. Safety first. You know, there comes a point when you realize why people pay other people to do this. Oh boy. Oh. There's always money to be saved in this particular realm as well when it comes to working on your vehicle. Now, you don't want to skimp on things because you don't want your vehicle to go. So, but you have to look. Take a look around and see what you see. There's always sales on oil changes and things like that. The flavor of today is 530 Castrol high mileage. You can get this high mileage oil by Castrol and an STP filter, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's going to have to work for this particular instance because it was $36. Just all synthetic oil, high mileage. Where they get you at is you have to buy an extra. Because the Chevy 6.0, well, it takes 6.2 quarts of oil. So you get 5 quarts and a filter for $36.99, but then you have to buy a $10 extra. You always have extra left over when you have to buy a lot of times the extra quart, so I have a little bit extra that I can add to it to get that 0.2 just in case it doesn't hit full. Anyway, let's crawl back under and get the filter off. There you go, running just as smooth as a fine Timex watch. I had the truck loaded up, all the camping equipment, golf cart, everything loaded up in the truck. Made it about 6 miles, started hearing this growling noise, and the right front wheel bearing began to lock up. Truck started pulling off to the right. Needless to say, turned around and came back home. Anyway, we're in the middle of tearing this thing apart. I'll get back with you in a little bit after I get this thing replaced. I would say this has never been off before. Factory Loctite. Whew. It was locked tight. That took a lot. And here's the funny part. I'm hoping the part I bought even fits the trunk. Any of y'all ever seen a JCPenney screwdriver? JCPenney. I didn't know they made screwdrivers. I didn't know you went to JCPenney's to get screwdrivers. Come off here, you little thing. Now, the funny thing is this doesn't look anything like the part they gave me. Isn't that typical? You're not working on the vehicle unless you go back to the auto parts at least 3 times. Well, after 45 minutes of going through all these different numbers, part numbers, and finding out that the Master Pro people have evidently messed their numbers all up. And every number that they showed for a two-wheel drive 2004 Chevy Silverado 2500 heavy duty was a four-wheel drive hub. We had to go all the way back to 2000 to find the correct number to be able to fit this truck. So I'd like to welcome you to day 3 of the 2004 Chevy Silverado heavy duty HD. That's right, HD 2500. Two-wheel drive. I just can't even say it. I'd like to call it a repair, but it's been an absolute nightmare. 3 dealerships, 7 auto parts places, and 1 company that I called on the telephone to try to figure out why a two-wheel drive vehicle is now requiring a four-wheel drive part up front. I've gotten a few answers, I've gotten a few that don't make any sense, and I'm just bolting the thing on here. I never in my lifetime would have thought there would have been any kind of this type of issue, or this much of an issue, with a Chevy truck. A Chevrolet. Okay? Not like this thing is an Aston Martin or anything, or a Yugo. It's a Chevy pickup. Anyway, I'm going to try again to get this thing back together and get it all taken care of, so we can get out here and do something. This 3 days of my vacation has been sitting right here in this driveway. I'm not a happy non-camper about it. Now for the part that I hate even more than the actual doing of the work. Cleaning up. And then test driving. I don't know if I should clean up first before I test drive. I probably should test drive before I clean up. There's a good possibility I could be taking back out after the test drive. But I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and just clean up, because I'm tired of looking at this truck in my driveway, and I'm tired of looking at these tools scattered all over it. Then we'll go for a test ride. And then after that, I don't know. So stop bothering me about it. So, how did the truck do yesterday? It did fine. Very smooth, no roaring. Seems like the part is doing what it's supposed to do. Even though it still kind of worries me that it's not really what I feel is the part for the truck. But it's what everybody keeps saying that Chevy's gone to. Man, do I live on a noisy street. I'm trying a different mic just to kind of cancel out some of that noise behind me, and hopefully it's working. Yes, I know you're probably saying 2 things. 1, why does he still live on that road? That's a long story. 2, what is that thing behind him? Well, this thing behind me is future content. It used to be mine. I sold it to a friend of mine who didn't use it very much. Anyway, he called me and said he was selling it back. And I said, okay, so I went and got it. Fortunately, we had the truck fixed yesterday. See, things happen for a reason. Even though we spent 3 days working on a truck that should have took 4 hours. Regardless, there's future content behind me. There is a event that happens once a year. I believe in, I can't remember, May, maybe? I can't remember when they have it. But it's called Mini Mayhem. That's right, total chaos. It's all about mini bikes and go-karts. And it's in a place called Busco Beach in North Carolina. Huge event. Hundreds of mini bikes and go-karts show up. People that have fabricated and built their own stuff. They camp out for about 3 days. You know, typical. Eating hot dogs and hamburgers and riding around on go-karts and mini bikes. Laughing it up and having a great time. I intend to try that next year. Since we already have the mini bike and got it running pretty good, it's time to get this thing right. The chain keeps flying off, it keeps leaking oil, and the left rear tire's flat. So we're going to make it right, and then we're going to go to this event and have a good time. Or we're going to go to this event. Good time is optional, I guess. Now I've got to get this heavy thing out of the back of the pickup. My back is already in knots from laying underneath of it for 3 days. Has anybody else noticed a pattern here? I always seem to be in this spot with a wheel taken off. Anyway, figured out what's wrong with the tire, obviously. We figured out what is wrong with the oil leak. The oil leak was nothing more than the drain plug, not the drain plug, but the filler plug. Just maybe from heat from the engine or whatever, it kind of got loose or whatever, tightened it, no more oil leak. But the biggest problem is, if you can see right there, I don't know if you can see it or not, maybe you can, the chain has been rubbing right there. And either the axle has shifted from one side to the other, which I'm not sure, maybe it has, but we got to get a spacer behind this sprocket to bring it out further, just a little bit, not much, about this thickness here. And that's about it, to keep that chain from hitting that backing plate for the torque converter. And there you go. Now I've just got to find a washer somewhere the size of that shaft coming out of there, this thickness, that I can put behind it, and then we can put this monster back together and see how it works. Well, there's some issues. I need a new rear bottom gear sprocket, and I need a new chain. That day I actually called a place in Texas called Go Power Sports. If you ever get a chance, you have a mini bike or a go-kart and you're looking for parts for them, this place is the place to call. Go Power Sports. They're in Texas. Well, it's been 2 days now. They haven't got back in touch with me. A little bit upsetting, if you want to know the truth. But whatever. I'll find what I need eventually and we'll get that thing right. But it's running. The oil leak is stopped. The left rear tire isn't leaking anymore. We just need the right chain and the right bottom sprocket. We'll take care of that. Anyway, on to the next part of the video. We actually start having some fun at this point. Guess you can call it fun. Hello everyone. We're not going camping, at least not right at the moment anyway. Since the truck, 3 days of dealing with that and a day of dealing with a go-kart and things like that, camping kind of got thrown to the side. So what we're going to do, the leaves are changing and it's quite nice today. It's going to be really nice today, as a matter of fact. We're going to go do something kind of off the wall, a little bit different today. Get out and get into the great outdoors. I got Lucas with me today, who's filming, which is a rarity. I don't get him to film very often, and he's kind of a special guest today, I guess. So we are heading to the special whole thing that I'm not going to get into until I get there. So anyway, hold tight, and in a snap of a finger, we'll be where we're at, and I'll show you what we're doing. Today's challenge. It's been a mechanical week. Challenging. Challenge is just getting the door open. (1928) Model A. Today we're going to see the world in a 1928 Model A. What this was a, how do you say it? It was kind of a vegetables and farm-oriented Model A, woody kind of thing, where the farmer would have sold his vegetables and hay or whatever out of the back, because it's a big open back end on it. We're going to get it outside so you really get a good look at it.
What?
I'll never complain about any of my vehicles again. The old dudes had it rough. Well, we're back at the house. That was my week experience. You just witnessed basically a full week of what I've dealt with. Didn't get to go camping because the truck broke down. Took 3 days to find a part that actually fit with the truck and worked with the truck, and someone that would actually tell me that that's the part that went to the truck. So in the process, we ended up going to get the go-kart, which was kind of a last-minute thing. Didn't expect that. Go-kart has issues. Obviously need a new sprocket for the back gear and a chain in order to make that work the way it's supposed to. Going to be working on that very soon and get that right for an event that's going to be coming up next year. And also ended up the same buddy that I got the go-kart from had that Model A, the Huckster, and it hadn't ran in quite some time. And we went over there, and within about, I don't know, it was about 25 minutes, I guess. Got her running, idling okay, enough to take it for a ride. And let me tell you, that's a ride. That is a white knuckle learning experience is what that is. If you've never driven a Model A Ford, especially one that's more like a truck than a car, it's an experience. Give it a shot. I suggest it's something to put down on your bucket list. I enjoyed it. It was fun. But keep your distance when you go to stop. The brakes, I think the brakes are just an afterthought. That was something that someone came up with and go, man, maybe if we want to slow down, what should we do? Well, we got enough room on the floor for another pedal. Let's put something there. Anyway, that's how it worked out. But we got home safely and we got it cleaned up and it looked nice, and we got it back to the owner, back in his garage, and probably going to be doing a Christmas parade with it this year. That's going to be fun. Long, but fun. Anyway, then after that, of course, this morning I tried to go to the antique store over in Virginia Beach, and because the interstate was being worked on and there was some special event at a local college there, 4 lanes were down to 2 lanes, and there was nothing but red taillights as far as the eye could see. Wasn't going to sit in there for that. We'll have to try that again some other time. I wanted to go back up there and take a look at that antique store where I got the reel that you didn't get to see, which maybe one of these days I'll get a video out for that, but it's, hey, it's one of those green reels. Okay? It's one of those green reels. So, I apologize for not being able to camp. I have also been fighting a upper head nose thing. Not quite sure what's going on up there. And it's been, each day it's been wearing me out a little bit more, but I think I'm starting to get past it now. But hey, I've got a whole nother week of vacation ahead of this video that you're seeing. And hopefully I can get something out, and maybe I'm hoping to get out there and camp. I want to use that tent. I want to camp in that tent. I want y'all to see that thing. It's actually for the money, for 30 bucks. I think that's going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time. Got to get all my stuff packed again and cross my fingers and hope the truck doesn't figure some other part that it just needed to have replaced. And since I was already replacing parts, it would just go ahead and break. Anyway, hey, thank you guys for watching. I know this video was a little bit of a cut, hack, throw in, put this, that, this is what, so forth and so on. But really what you got to see, that's my life. The way my life works. It has been sporadic, bouncing off the walls, everything unplanned. Because every time I try to plan something, this is the kind of stuff that happens. So I just kind of gave up on planning things. I just fly by the old seat of the britches. So anyway, my britches are going to fly on into the kitchen and eat some chicken that Lucas is in there making right now, cooking on the grill out back. And we're going to enjoy the rest of this nice, warm, sunny day. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one, whatever the next one may be. I've never said that and meant it more. Believe me.